Netflix recently released a series by LaShawn Thomas called Yasuke, based on the life of an African samurai during one of the most important periods of Japanese history. I thought it fitting to watch and review it because this is the only time I've actually seen the story of an historical African figure being centralized in an animated series, and I really wanted to see if LaShawn Thomas would use some creative license to include additional Africanisms in his show. I definitely saw some interesting things, and so today, I wanted to speak about the value LaShawn Thomas brought to our community. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. My website, Afrographics, is finally back up and available for resources on African history if you need it. Also, if you like this channel, you can support this content on patreon.com. And with a word from my sponsors, there's a new social media platform dedicated to educating and uplifting our people. No longer do we have to be censored for speaking our truth. Our Black Truth is Black owned and operated, and a place where you can post your businesses and even monetize your content. You can download the app at Google Play or the App Store, and you can visit the website at ourbblacktruth.com. Links to everything in the description box below. Before I begin, there will be minor spoilers in this video, so if you're concerned about that in any way, please refrain from watching. Now, this won't be a traditional review where the actual plot or overall content is critiqued or praised. I'm more so attempting to answer the following question: how did LaShawn and the other creators speak to the audience of African descent? I think that question is important because what would be the point of a rare animated series like this if it did not speak specifically to that community in some way? Now, it doesn't need to be overly distracted or concerned with that focus, but allowing space for it gives more meaning. I think LaShawn definitely understands this, and that's why I was able to identify 4 creative ways in which he included references to Africa. For those who may not know, Yasuke was a 16th century African man who was apparently in service of Alessandro Vigliano, an Italian Jesuit. Now, there's some debate as to Yasuke's official status, but it seems inconclusive. Vigliano made his way to Kyoto with Yasuke, where Oda Nobunaga was. Oda Nobunaga had apparently never seen an African before and was impressed at his height and his strength, and so he pretty much determined that Yasuke would serve him. I think it's critical for people to understand that this period in Japanese history is very important. It's commonly referred to as the Sengoku period, or the Warring States period. This period of Japanese history helped to determine what a central government would look like for the entire country. In many ways, the Sengoku period made Japan what it is today, and Oda Nobunaga is considered to be among the great unifiers in Japanese history. For an African like Yasuke to serve one of these lords means that he was involved in one of the most significant periods in Japanese history. It's difficult to overstate just how unique Yasuke was. Popular culture only recently began highlighting his story, and LaShawn is central to that promotion. One of the interesting Africanisms LaShawn included in his animated series was referencing an African name. In his series, Yasuke is asked by Oda Nobunaga what his name is, and Yasuke gives what seems to be an African name. And in a fun comedic scene, the Japanese were confused and really couldn't pronounce it, so they settled on calling him Yasuke because he was said to have come from the Yao people, according to the series. I thought it was a nice nod to the audience who may have wanted to at least see some acknowledgement that Yasuke was not his real name. Another reference to Africa and African history was the presence of another African warrior in the series, which I thought was a cool addition. In actuality, one scholar believes that Yasuke was not the only African samurai who served in Japan. Thomas Lockley, co-author of a book about Yasuke's life, said the following: "There are several records of Black Africans serving more minor lords, and we don't know so much about them because the lords they were serving were more minor." So the inclusion of another African warrior by LaShawn Thomas may not have been all creative license, if you will, but he did take the opportunity to put his own spin on it. In his story, this African warrior was a mercenary, or hired assassin, if you will. I thought it was cool how LaShawn didn't allow the other characters to simply ignore the fact that there were 2 African warriors in Japan, And again, he did it in a creative, comedic way. In an innocent manner, one character immediately highlighted that Yasuke was an African and asked the other African if they were related or from the Kingdom of Benin. I thought that scene was genius because it reflected a real human reaction, to be honest, and it used comedic ignorance as a way to spotlight African civilization. At this point in the series, I knew LaShawn was mindful of not only entertaining his audience, but educating them. And LaShawn did a little more than just name drop an African civilization. The other African character was able to manifest soldiers from the Benin Empire, and they would fight for him. That's the only time I've seen a relatively accurate portrayal of an African warrior going up against non-African warriors. And the fact that LaShawn decided to include this, I think it deserves celebration. And the last way I think he included some Africanisms in his series was the value system present in Yasuke's moral code. It wasn't exactly clear to me, but LaShawn seemed to suggest that Yasuke's value system came from his homeland on the continent. Throughout the series, Yasuke would speak about how children need to be protected, and he remained loyal to that idea and thus his African identity, no matter what was going on around him. In fact, this value system drove him throughout the series. I think this was the most tangible way LaShawn projected Yasuke's African agency within Japanese society. All in all, the message I received from LaShawn was that knowing who you are is the most important thing, and that it's the best defense we have as humans in this tyrannical world. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help in its continued production, consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.